Imagine, if you will, an Equestria on the brink of war. A standoff against a faceless enemy that hides behind their threats. Like a dark cloud, a sense of dread blankets the land. And as the doomsday clock ticks towards midnight, one fateful act could spiral us towards destruction.
Patiently for an evacuation order.
I hope that you enjoyed that teaser. This is what, not the premiere of this. So, anyways, yes, I am here. This is Winchester Wednesdays. This is Forest Rain's new album. Everybody go pick it up. I think it's at forestmedia.com. Whatever. If you go search up End of the World by Forest, find it. But yes, let us see. Yes, I'm here. But let us see. Not only that, we are also doing a reading tonight. Let us see if our human comrades that are trying to save themselves from the clutches of the whatever the fuck it is, manage to turn Equestria into barren wasteland that we see for us at the moment. So yes, without further ado, let us get into the call.
And that's why you got to make sure that you keep your rope tension so you don't cut off blood circulation. It's actually one of the things that's actually in the OSHA manual.
That explains why I lost my leg.
Do you recommend putting like a little knot just before it so it doesn't get too tight, or is that a bad idea?
Yeah, that's actually a good idea depending on what you're actually trying to do. I usually practice this sort of thing from a beam in my bedroom. Actually, there's two beams and they're spaced practically a perfect distance apart to make sure that someone's in the harness properly.
I'm waiting for Winchester to be like, or not.
Well, it's too late now.
I just use knives.
I don't really care because pretty soon it will all be over anyways.
Word.
Is that the shotgun mic?
Actually, no. Tick owns the shotgun mic now. This is the shotgun mic part 2.
Who's coming over to Winchester's house after this for the cleanup party?
I'll bring the bleach.
Who actually knows where I live in this call?
My goldfish does.
You're in North Platte. I know that.
I think like half of this call does Forest, me, Forest, double R.
Also
Forest.
me.
Well, no, I'm meaning the exact. I'm meaning my exact address.
Okay. All right. You know what? You brought it up, so now I have to ask. When someone says forest, who are they talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
What? No.
Yes.
No, who's forest?
Yes.
The guy named Forrest.
But forest means
Maybe.
forest rain. You are double R. Get it right.
I'm talking about that guy with the box of chocolates who sings "Join the Herd."
Perfect.
Wouldn't the herd make some pretty fire beats?
So yes. Anyways, let us get into things here. So starting off, we have my wonderful co-hosts, Crazy Matt Captain and Skyrays. Or not.
That's where you
I'm sorry, it's October. You got the name wrong.
I don't care. I don't do this stupid October bullshit.
You take that back.
Fuck Halloween. Fuck all of you.
Winchester, we can't be
Not in
friends
front of the
anymore. I'm
children.
sorry.
And now
know
we're
what
at an
you know-
R rating. Woohoo!
Winchester, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dress up in an all black costume and then come to your house and just hide behind your tree next to your window and just stare at you.
On Halloween?
Yes.
All right, that's perfectly fine because I won't be here.
Winchester, you can spoopify my name if you want.
You're already a wolf. and yeah. Speaking of spookifying people, we have double R.
I used to think that editing these fan fictions was the proudest contribution to society. Now it's underwriting Medicare supplement policies.
Wonderful.
That's my new full-time job, folks.
We all have things to aspire to.
Awesome. And speaking of big aspirations, we have Larsus's goldfish,
Whoa.
who also decided to bring along Larsus.
Today's episode is brought to you by Peniston Oils. Peniston Oils, along with Larson's Biscuits, will make sure that your car goes around the Nürburgring for 24 hours. Or not.
And come to JC's Auto Wash to get your fresh oil change of it today. And speaking of oil changes, somebody who probably needs to do an oil change, Force Rain.
Nuh-uh. My oil was topped off after I attempted to cut off my pinky the other day.
Yeah, what are you talking about? She's all lubed up.
That's right.
Also, don't worry about her oil, Winchester. My goldfish went and replaced it all with graphite dust.
Oh, perfect.
That's
Alrighty.
why I'm functioning at full capacity.
And next up, we have Lycan.
Tomorrow is National Stay at Home with Your Dog and Drink Beer Day. It's nothing official, I just made it up.
I don't know. It sounds like an official Australian. I was going to say accident, but that's wrong.
You're
It
an,
probably was an accident too.
you're an official Australian accident.
Yes, we have to wear magnetic boots so we don't fall off the earth because we're upside down.
Oh. Yes. Also, I'm not going to say who it is, but there is an icon hiding behind Forest Rain's icon on stream. If you can catch who it is, you know who it is. But yes. So yeah.
Olive
So-
Garden, when you're here, you're here.
Basically, when you're here, you're not happy. All of
Paul's
Or-
Place. We haven't given anyone food poisoning yet.
Or as they used to say, the Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, you can't prove anything.
Oh, by the way, since it is October, we got to wake up Green Day.
Somebody did it already.
Damn it, it's too late.
Still
Wait, yeah, I was about to say, where is he?
I'm not sure.
I think he's like in the army or something. Like that's what happened in the video.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Or was it the Marines? I don't know. Can't tell.
Check another formula.
I'm
Anyways,
actively searching for it. I'll link it when I find it.
I don't know. Just blame the military for abducting people. That's what we're doing, right?
yes, just like I've abducted you all to participate in this reading. So, oh God, he's here.
He has been summoned.
God.
Wait, really?
You know what? I'm just gonna hand this over to Larsus to start whenever he feels like it.
Oh yes, he's gonna make it all my fault, isn't he?
Yep.
Well, shit. Hi, I'm Larsus, your narrator. Today we'll be talking about finding and stopping waste in modern boiler rooms. Copyright 1920. I think I'm reading the wrong thing. There we go. Project Sunflower by Hoopy McGee, a name that we can actually pronounce. Double R is going to pull double duty, playing Twilight Sparkle and Mr. Parcel, because he's cool like that. Forrest is going to be doing Applejack and Rainbow Dash for reasons. Lakin is typecast again this week. Winchester is also typecast, and not as a Southerner or Texan for once. The voice is going to be judged by... Who judges the voice these days, guys?
Simon Cowell. I think we do.
Apparently we're doing the voice. So send your auditions in, and we'll listen to them and send you home. CMC is going to be or GMC. The General Motors Corporation is going to be playing Aaron and Sunflower, and Skyrays is going to be playing Spike. Chapter 9, A Slightly Awkward Tea. Sorry, I have a story I'll tell later. Anyway, A Slightly Awkward Tea. Erin stood outside the treehouse library and adjusted her saddlebags nervously. Then she adjusted her hat. Then she adjusted her uniform. As she started adjusting her saddlebags once again, she finally admitted herself that no amount of adjusting would make her less nervous about facing the scrutiny of the Ponyville librarian once again. It briefly occurred to her that she could simply quit her job, but she shoved that thought roughly aside. Gulping down her fears, she knocked a hoof against the door and stood there awkwardly. Any hope she might have entertained that nobody would be home were dashed within seconds as the door creaked open. This time, it wasn't a small dragon answering the door. It was the Lavender Librarian herself, obviously surprised to see her.
Oh, Sunflower, right? My friend Applejack has nice things to say about you.
Packages!
Erin's interruption was shrill and awkward. Internally, she flinched at her own clumsiness.
I mean, I have a delivery for you. Sorry.
She tried smiling at Twilight, but she had a feeling that it came off as a really awkward grin.
I'm new.
She intended for that to be some sort of explanation. She gave herself an angry mental kick. Could she act like any bigger of an idiot?
Oh? Oh! These must be the books I ordered. How wonderful! I was starting to think they'd never arrive.
The librarian's horn glowed with a purple nimbus, and the packages lifted themselves out of Erin's saddlebags. Simultaneously, the pen lifted itself off the clipboard and scribbled a quick signature. Erin snatched the clipboard away as Twilight's telekinetic aura stopped surrounding it and stuffed it into her saddlebag, intending to beat a hasty retreat.
Well, you have a good night. I'll be going now. Enjoy your books, and thanks for using Fetlock Express.
She backed away and grinned like a loon as she babbled. Twilight Sparkle simply stared at her with a measuring expression.
Sunflower, stop. I'd like you to come inside, if you don't mind.
Oh, I really should. I have work. It's getting late.
Just for a few minutes. I'm sure you can spare the time. Applejack is a friend of mine, and she mentioned that she knew you and liked you. And I like to know my friend's friends.
Erin continued to simply stare at her. Twilight smiled and stepped to one side of the doorway, leaving enough room for her to enter.
Just a quick chat. I promise.
Erin saw no polite way to refuse. Her options were to either bolt and run screaming through the streets of Ponyville, which was tempting, but would draw unwanted attention, or go inside and have a chat with this incredibly strange unicorn.
Okay, thanks.
She stepped gingerly past the lavender mare and back into the large round main room once again. She saw Spike on a ladder with a feather duster, whisking away busily at a shelf full of books. Twilight called out as they entered and asked him if he wouldn't mind bringing in 2 cups of tea, and the little dragon cheerfully complied. Twilight watched him leave with a tender smile on his face.
He's my #1 assistant, you know. He's been with me since he hatched. Such a sweet little guy.
Twilight settled down into a cushion by a low table. Her horn glowed again as she picked up and started fiddling with an old-fashioned quill pen. Erin took off her empty saddlebags and lowered herself awkwardly down on a cushion on the opposite side of the table, her eyes darting around the room as if looking for a means to escape. Twilight just smiled at her, though, and told her that she should relax.
Please, I really just wanted to learn a little more about you, that's all. AG said you didn't say much about where you were from, is that right?
Yeah, things were very different there.
Erin decided that her best course of action was one she had followed the day before talking to Applejack: evade, but outright avoid lies and fabrications. If this unicorn was the head librarian, she'd be extremely hard to fool even with a good lie, and Erin didn't know enough about Equestria to make up anything resembling a good lie.
Different how?
Twilight asked, tilted her head curiously. They were briefly interrupted by Spike as he brought out 2 teacups on a tray that also held some lemon slices and a bowl of sugar cubes.
Thank you, Spike.
No problem, Twy.
He then shimmied back up the ladder and started dusting again.
Would you like any lemon or sugar with your tea?
She put down the quill and levitated one of the teacups over to her while simultaneously picking up her own.
I'll take 3 sugars, please.
A bit of a sweet tooth, eh?
Twilight Sparkle levitated 3 lumps of sugar out of the bowl and delicately placed them in the teacup before setting the cup and saucer on the table in front of her. Erin delicately picked up the cup in her forehooves and took a sip. Tea was very nice. Blend she'd never tasted before. A bit more peppery than she was expecting, but still very good. And very hot. She placed the cup back in the saucer, resolving to let it cool a bit before taking another sip. She glanced up and saw that Twilight was stirring her own cup with a spoon wielded by her magic while looking at her curiously.
I'm sorry. You were saying how your hometown was different?
Actually, I hadn't, but, um, well, to start with, there were only normal ponies.
Erin flinched at that, thinking it probably sounded like the equivalent of pony racism.
Sorry, I mean, no unicorns or pegasi.
Applejack mentioned that, yes. It's very strange, but not completely unheard of. There have been the occasional villages that try to go it alone. Villages of just earth ponies, unicorns, or pegasi. But usually they're pretty small and don't last very long. And the ones that do, like Cloudsdale, tend to have cities or towns very close by that they can barter with.
Cloudsdale?
Oh, you haven't heard of it? It's a large Pegasus pony town not too far from Ponyville. They manufacture a lot of the regional weather there. Of course, since it's in the clouds, it's pretty hard for non-Pegasi to visit.
It suddenly occurred to Erin that if she could keep the unicorn talking, then maybe she could avoid having to give any answers as well as gathering information at the same time. She resolved to ask as many questions as she could. The unicorn chuckled, remembering fondly.
Of course, when Rainbow Dash entered the Best Young Flyer competition, I was able to find a spell to let most of the rest of us walk on clouds, so we can go and cheer her on.
Erin blinked slowly. Twilight was talking about magic and spells as if were perfectly normal, and it seemed to be a lot different than the simple levitation than she'd assumed most ponies meant when they said magic. Erin's skepticism kicked in and immediately wanted to reject the very notion of magic and spells. But then she remembered 2 things. First, Twilight Sparkle, and every other pony she'd run into since she got here, apparently believed in magic. In order to fit in, therefore, it would be best if she pretended to believe in it as well. Second, and more disturbing, was the fact that she'd spent a good chunk of the day watching Pegasi pushing clouds around just to water the grass. There was almost definitely a rational scientific explanation for all that. She still couldn't help but wonder if maybe, just maybe, magic really worked here. Sure would explain a lot. Erin considered that for a moment, then noticed that the conversation had lapsed. She decided to try again to keep the librarian talking.
Most of the rest of you?
Oh, yes.
Twilight took a sip of her tea but didn't put it back down, simply levitating it off to the side so it wasn't in front of her face.
Fluttershy is a Pegasus, so she could already fly and cloud walk. And at first, I tried to cast a spell to give a pony wings, but that was extremely difficult, and the wings I made were very delicate. So the only one of us that got them was my friend Rarity. I'll let either her or Rainbow Dash tell the story, though, since it's probably theirs to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Creating wings on a pony was definitely well outside of what she thought telekinesis was capable of. So either the unicorn was lying or exaggerating, or something else completely different was at work here. Definitely something to think about.
So, this village of yours, were unicorns and pegasi forbidden?
No, not as such, just we'd never seen any. Well, not in real life, just in pictures and the like. We had stories about them, but I'd never seen actual Pegasus pony in person until I met Rainbow Dash at Sweet Apple Acres, and I think the first unicorn I met was Meadowlark at the guest house.
Wow, that's really amazing, Sunflower.
Aaron couldn't detect any sarcasm coming from her. She seemed honestly interested. Aaron smiled tentatively at her, and Twilight smiled back.
So, you don't have much experience with magic outside of an Earth Pony's inherent magic?
Twilight leaned forward eagerly.
Uh, no, none at all, really.
Aaron felt confused for a minute and tried to disguise it by taking a sip of her own tea. Earth ponies had magic? She hadn't seen any examples of that yet. It was something else to be on the lookout for.
So, why did you leave your village?
Twilight cocked her head as Aaron set her teacup back down.
Well, one big reason is it's a big world, you know? I wanted to see more of it.
That was absolutely true. Now that she was actually here and safe, Aaron's appetite for learning had awoken. Even without the menace of the black tide back home, she would have wanted to explore this place. Hopefully, she'd have the chance to do so even after she'd been turned back into a human.
Just one reason? Not the only one?
Twilight was being way too insightful for Aaron's comfort.
It's a big reason, yes, but, well, the other reason I don't want to talk about, if that's okay.
Aaron studied the table, blushing at the quasi lie she was telling. All this hiding really made her uncomfortable.
Of course, that's completely fine.
Aaron glanced up in confusion. Had she heard some sympathy in Twilight's voice? Alarm bells rang in Aaron's head.
Well, Applejack is your friend, and Rainbow Dash seems to like you as well. And any friend of those two, I'd be honored to call a friend of mine, if that's okay with you.
Of course. I have a lot to learn about Equestria. I guess I could say that, I'm a little sheltered that way. Would it be okay if I came by to read up on things? I don't s- feel like a stupid pony.
Of course you can!
Twilight stood up with a look of shock on her face, which quickly turned to anger.
Who told you that you were a stupid pony?
Aaron flinched back in surprise at the fierceness of the formerly mild mannered librarian's reply.
Well, no pony recently. I guess I just feel that way sometimes, especially just recent, since there's so much I don't know.
Twilight Sparkle frowned at her, then spoke quite seriously.
There is a massive difference between being ignorant of some things and being stupid. Every pony is ignorant of something, but only those who refuse to learn can ever be considered stupid. Remember that, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Aaron blinked with surprise at Twilight's intensity.
And as far as learning goes, feel free to use a library anytime, provided it's not in the middle of the night. I usually leave the door unlocked, and if I'm not in, you can just help yourself to any books that you need. Just don't take them out of the library without Spike or myself here to check them out for you, okay?
Aaron nodded.
And if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer them.
I lost my.
And Spike fell asleep.
Bottom of 13.
As Spike fell asleep on the bottom of 13.
I lost my spot. I had to restart Google. An excruciating detail.
Sorry, Spike, did you want to repeat that?
Twilight's purple eyes narrowed in mock fury at her scaly assistant as he moved the ladder from one section of shelves to another.
I said an exquisite detail.
Spike's lie was so smooth it made both mares laugh. They chatted for a little longer, mostly about Aaron's experiences in town. Erin blushingly related her earlier blunders in trying to find work, and both Twilight and Spike laughed at her misadventures. Though Twilight herself seemed oddly uncomfortable laughing about the gardening incident. After perhaps half an hour of talking, Erin glanced down and noticed that her tea was nearly gone. She downed the rest of it and stood up, satisfied with how the meeting had gone. Twilight seemed perfectly nice, if a little nosy. Nothing much to worry about as long as she was careful what she said around her. Still, it was time to get going.
Well, I think I should go finish off my shift, Twilight. Thank you for the tea and the conversation. Both were very nice.
As the librarian smiled at her, Erin turned to Spike.
And thank you for serving the tea, Spike. It was very nice of you, and you're doing a great job on the dusting.
Well, well, well. See that, Twilight? Some ponies show a proper appreciation towards hardworking dragons.
You missed a spot. Just there, see?
Grumbling, the dragon shifted the ladder back to the previous set of shelves and started climbing back up them. Twilight laughed and then turned towards Erin.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Sunflower. I look forward to knowing you even better in the future. Maybe one day you can trust me enough to actually tell me why you really left your village.
Um, I'd like that, Twilight. We'll see. Thank you for the tea and the nice chat.
Erin picked her empty saddlebags up and flung them across her back, not bothering to strap them on. She walked out of the door to the library, turned and waved to Twilight, who was standing in the doorway with a slight smile on her face. Feeling much relieved, Erin started trotting back to the FedEx office, humming a happy tune. Twilight Sparkle watched from the doorway as Sunflower walked away with a spring in her step. She smiled as the tan earth pony turned back to wave at her. She was quite different than the nervous, jittery mare that she had been when she first came into the library. Twilight's smile faded into a slight frown as Sunflower turned a corner. Of course, she was probably nervous about any pony knowing her secret and was probably worried that Twilight guessed it on the night they first met. Hopefully, she'd managed to convince her that her secret was safe. She turned back inside, closing the door. As she walked inside, Spike stopped dusting the shelves and walked up to her.
Well, how'd it go?
Well, she was definitely hiding something, but she never actually straight up lied to me.
Just before the tea had been brought out, she'd cast a spell to detect lies. It had been slightly difficult to remember to keep manipulating things in the room in order to provide a reason as to why her horn had been glowing, but the results had been worth it. She was sure now exactly what Sunflower's secret was, even though it wasn't completely sure of all the details.
Are you sure she's not a spy? She was studying maps and history. I mean, come on. Maybe she's a zebra in disguise or something.
Twilight laughed and rubbed a hoof on Spike's head.
Don't be silly, Spike. If the zebra nations wanted to know about Equestria, they could just ask. Besides, Zecora lives nearby. She'd make a better spy than Sunflower. At least she doesn't look like she's about to be pounced on by a manticore just because some pony invites her in for tea.
Well, then how do you think it happened? She seems like such a normal pony, and she's pretty nice.
She is. And I don't know. I never encountered a pony with no magic at all before.
That's what stopped Twilight Spark on her tracks the night before. Every pony had magic in them, though the unicorn had never really noticed that before. It was like a sound that was always in the background. Once you got used to it, you never noticed it until it suddenly stopped. And not until she'd run into the one pony, probably in all of Equestria, who didn't seem to have any magic at all, did she notice that she could feel the magic of other ponies. At first, she wasn't sure what it was that she had sensed coming from the strange pony. Just a feeling of oddness, of something out of place. Finally, it clicked. Magic simply swerved around Sunflower as if she didn't exist, as if she weren't an actual part of Equestria.
Well, however it happened, I'm betting it's the reason she got kicked out of her village.
You think she got kicked out? Why would any pony do that?
What use is an Earth Pony without Earth Pony magic? You saw how embarrassed she looked when I mentioned Earth Pony magic, and how ashamed she was when I asked her why she left. I think that something happened, some accident or malady with Sunflower right in the middle of it. Suddenly, Sunflower no longer had any useful magic, so she was probably made to feel very unwelcome at home. Did you hear Carrot Top complaining today at the market about the mess Sunflower made in her garden? What kind of earth pony can't even garden? It's just too sad.
Can you fix it?
Spike had tears in his eyes. Twilight Sparkle smiled warmly at him, reminded of what a kind, sensitive little dragon he really was.
I can't even imagine what kind of affliction would cause a pony to be completely cut off from magic like that.
The librarian shuddered in suppressed horror. She couldn't imagine what she'd do if she was separated from her own magic in a similar fashion.
But I promise you, Spike, the power to find a cure for her.
Horn glowing, Twilight took down her copy of Magical Maladies and Common Cures. A fairly simple book, but it was as good a place to start as any.
But what if it isn't in your power? And do you really have time for that? Don't we have to get go? Don't we have to get going soon?
Twilight sighed and put the book aside.
You're right, Spike. We do have to go. But don't worry too much. If it isn't within my power, I can always ask Princess Celestia.
Scene change. Mr. Parcel spoke as Aaron walked through the front door.
That took longer than expected.
Sorry about that. Twilight Sparkle wanted to talk to me for a little while, and since this was my last delivery, I thought I could take the time.
Oh, it's not a problem. She orders lots of books. One of our best clients. It's always good to maintain a good relationships with a pony as important as that. Did you know she's Princess Celestia's own pupil?
What? No, she never mentioned that.
Ah, well, that filly doesn't like to brag all that much. But it's funny as heck to watch her lose her mind whenever the princess is scheduled to visit Ponyville.
Lose her mind? How do you mean?
Oh, she just tends to get a tiny bit nutty over preparing things when we're expecting a visit from royalty. A good pony, though. Incredibly talented magically, of course. But you'd expect that from Princess Celestia's own student. Anyway, go on and get that uniform off, and I'll get your pay to.
Okay.
Aaron trotted into the back room. Mr. Parcel sure had given her a lot to think about. If Twilight Sparkle was the personal protege of the princess, then she could probably tell her a lot about how the government here worked, as well as what the princess herself was like. She hung up the oversized saddlebags in her locker, stuck her hat on the locker shelf, then struggled out of the uniform jacket. Once she'd gotten that hung up, she belted on her own saddlebags and went back to the front area. Mr. Parcel had her sign off on the signature sheets that she had brought back that day, and had her sign another in the ledger saying that she had been paid 20 bits for one day's labor. He then forked over another 10 bits, which Aaron added to the 4 already in the drawstring bag that he had given her earlier. She placed that into her bag, and, promising to be back at 9 o'clock sharp the next morning, trotted out the door. Aaron was still in a fantastic mood, made even better by the sound of bits jingling around in her saddlebags. She'd make sure to hold on to at least 5 of those in order to pay for a room at the guest house for a week. It was a considerable relief to have the issue of housing resolved. Still, she was feeling peckish and decided it might be nice to get something to eat. It was then that she remembered that she still had half a sandwich from Cafe Cartier in her bag, along with a dozen apples. The sandwich and maybe an apple or two would do nicely as a late afternoon or evening snack. All she needed was a place to sit and eat, maybe a park or something. With that in mind, she tried back to the market square, hoping to see Applejack again for a recommendation. Sadly, the orange mare was gone, as was her stall. Erin pouted briefly, then decided that she should just explore for a little while by herself. She'd gotten a pretty good look at Ponyville today, delivering packages around, and one building in particular stood out, both for the design and for the wondrous smells coming from within. After all, a confection or two would really round out her evening meal. In short order, Erin found herself staying in front of a store with a sign out front that said Sugar Cube Corner. She stepped inside and stopped in surprise. The shop was mysteriously dark for some reason. Erin wondered briefly if they were closed or something, and just forgotten to lock the door. She was just beginning to turn around to walk out when she heard the scuffing of hooves in the darkness beyond. Turning back, scared and mildly creeped out, Erin called out meekly to the darkness.
Hello? Is any pony there?
There was a short giggle, rapidly stifled. Erin backed quickly into the exit, but froze in horror as she bumped into something. Turning her head, she saw a dark shape between her and the door. Just as she was about to scream, the light suddenly flicked on, and
Surprise!
Pinkie Pie had a massive grin on her face. Project Sunflower, Chapter 10. Fangs and wrong story. Party time.
Wow, Sunflower, you should see the look on your face. You sure were surprised, weren't you?
Erin could only nod while her heart galloped manically in her chest. She managed a weak smile at the grinning pink pony, who took that as encouragement to help her up.
Well, don't just sit there. Come on. I'm going to introduce you to every pony.
Pinkie hooked a hoof under Erin's forearm and hauled her to her hooves.
Every pony, I'd like to introduce our guest of honor, a brand new resident to our happy family here in Ponyville, Sunflower.
Erin, still recovering from the earlier shock, smiled as best she could at the small crowd of ponies packed into Sugar Cube Corner's main floor as they started stomping their front hooves and cheering. She felt herself blushing at the attention and also noted that ponies applauded by stamping. That was good to know. It would help her fit in.
Come on, Sunflower, let's go meet every pony.
There were a surprising number of ponies at the party that Erin had already met, mostly while doing deliveries, but the bulk of the ponies were new to her. Most of them oddly seemed to be mares with only an occasional stallion in the mix. She was amused to find out that the scientist's initial assessment of pony names was correct, and that many of the mares had flower-related names. This included a trio of apparently close friends named Rose, Daisy, and Lily. Erin smiled at that, noting that their names wouldn't be all that unusual back on Earth. Once again, she noticed that all the ponies were very friendly and greeted her warmly, even those that she'd already met during her deliveries. Though, she wondered how many of them were interested in free cake and snacks than in meeting her. When Pinkie Pie introduced Erin to everyone, to her satisfaction, the pink pony then spoke.
Okay, every pony, enough with the chit-chat. It's cake time.
And with that, Ready to Die started playing. Actually, with that, the cake, which was roughly half the height of a pony itself, was sliced and distributed on small paper plates. Erin held hers in an upturned hoof awkwardly, wondering how she was going to eat it. Looking around her, she saw that most ponies were simply holding the cake and taking large bites out of it. Giving a mental shrug, Erin did the same. She was expecting it this time, and she wasn't disappointed. The cake was amazing, perfectly moist without being too heavy, and just the right amount of sugary frosting to complement without being overwhelming. After she swallowed her mouthful, she turned to Pinkie and complimented her on the cake.
Oh, thank you. I've been getting better at it, though Mrs. Cake actually helped with the decorations. I get too impatient to do a really detailed job like this.
Well, it tastes incredible, Pinky. And thank you so much for throwing this party. I know you said you would, but really, I'm just so touched that you would go through all this effort just for me.
Well, you're welcome, but it's not like I need much of an excuse to throw a party. Here, have a second slice of cake.
Erin was about to turn it down out of habit. Then the thought occurred to her that if the scientists in the Ascent Labs could turn her back from a pony into a human, they could definitely take a few extra cake-related pounds off as well. With a grin broadening on maniacal, with a grin bordering on maniacal, I talk good sometimes, she had a second slice, and then a third. A good chunk of the rest of the evening was lost in a sugar-induced blur. We're going with sugar on that one, guys. Meanwhile,
Creamy frosting.
Twilight Sparkle was standing. Twilight Sparkle was standing near a table, chatting with Applejack and Pinkie Pie. Rarity was off in a corner, keeping company with Fluttershy, who didn't like the idea of mingling with crowds, but who hated being alone even more. Rainbow Dash hadn't shown up yet, but that was most likely due to a nap running slightly longer than expected.
Well, she sure looks like she's having a good time.
Twilight sipped from a cup of punch. Setting the cup aside, Twilight looked towards the guest of honor. Sunflower was busily swinging away, blindfolded, a pinata hanging from the ceiling. Just 20 minutes earlier, there had been a rousing game of pin the tail on the pony, which Sunflower hadn't come anywhere near winning, but she apparently just enjoyed the game for its own sake.
Well, good for her.
Ponyville wasn't like her old village, wherever that was. No pony was going to kick Sunflower out of town while she had anything to say about it. Granted, no pony knew her secret that she couldn't use magic, but Twilight herself wouldn't tell any pony about it.
She sure does seem to be fitting in pretty well for only having been here a little over a day.
Well, the ponies here in Ponyville are extremely welcoming and friendly. I found that out myself on my first day here, if you recall. And I hope she makes just as many friends as I did.
Something in the forceful way Twilight said that seemed to strike the farm pony as odd as she gave her a look.
Something going on, Twi?
The librarian shook her head in wry amusement. The way she talked sometimes is easy to forget how insightful her hard-working friend could be, and how direct she could be.
Well, I may have found out a little bit more about what her secret is, but. Ah! Pinky, what the heck?
Twilight spluttered as Pinkie Pie finished a rather prolonged spit take that had been launched a mouthful of punch into her face.
Wait, are you saying the pony with the big, super big secret is Sunflower?
What are you talking about, Pinky?
Horn glowing, she began toweling the punch off her face using a wad of napkins.
For the last couple of days, my pinky sense has been going off randomly. I knew that some pony had a big, dark secret. I thought it was Rainbow Dash.
And yesterday, y'all thought it was me, remember?
I apologized for that. I wonder what the big secret is.
Pinkie Pie,
Pinkie turned to her looking startled.
I have some idea of what her secret might be, but it's personal and it doesn't concern you, okay? I want you to promise to leave her alone.
Well, duh. I'm not going to corner some pony at her own welcome party and try to harass a secret out of her. I only did that to Applejack and Rainbow Dash because I thought it was funny. And because we're best friends. But mostly because it was funny.
Weren't all that funny.
Erin finally felt the wood bat in her teeth connect with the pinata. The ponies around her started cheering as the candy spilled out of it onto the floor. Dropping the back, she pushed the blindfold up out of her eyes. She grinned at the smiling ponies around her. This is really just too much fun. She had this much fun at parties since, well, ever. When she was little, her parents had given her small birthday parties, just her brothers and her with a cake. No big deal. High school parties had been just awkward and uncomfortable, and once she'd gotten into college, parties had been more about standing around and talking, usually with loud music and alcohol thrown in to make conversations just slightly shy of comprehensible. But this was amazing. The party games, the laughter, the incredible foods. This is what a party should be. She glanced around, trying to find Pinkie Pie, intending to thank her once again for the party and to let her know just how much she appreciated it. She found the pink pony standing near a table with Applejack and Twilight Sparkle. She left the huge mound of candy behind her, already being divided up by eager ponies, and walked over to talk to them. Perhaps it was the sugar. Perhaps it was how much fun she was having. Either way, she was in a giddy and mischievous mood when she reached the table. Pinky's back was to her talking to her friends, so Erin sneaked up behind her. Once she determined that she was close enough, she put her plan into action. She crouched down, tensing her muscles, and then suddenly sprung at the pink pony while shouting,
Surprise hug attack!
Pinky screamed in shocked surprise as Erin's forelegs wrapped around her neck and hug. Both ponies collapsed to the floor in a heap, Erin giggling like a maniac and Pinky too momentarily stunned to react. Once her brain caught up with the current events, the pink pony started giggling too.
Good one, Sunflower.
Applejack was chuckling, and Twilight was just staring at the two of them as if they'd both lost their minds. Erin untangled herself from Pinky and sat down as Pinky started to pull herself up from the floor.
Pinkie Pie, I just wanted to say thanks once again. This party is incredible, and I'm having such a good time.
Of course.
Pinky gave her a big hug around the neck.
If I'm interrupting something, I can come back later.
Rainbow Dash came up behind them. Erin laughed and disentangled herself from the hug.
Hey, Rainbow, when did you get here? Just now. And sorry I'm late. I didn't expect the printers to take this long. They said they'd have their orders ready by noon.
The frustration was evident in the Blue Pegasus's voice.
You mean they finished? Let me see them. Hold your horses.
Rainbow dug a brightly colored page out of her saddlebag. She passed it over to Applejack, who laid it flatly on the nearby table to take a look at it. Erin poked her head around the side, curious as to what it said. The page was a flyer featuring a large trophy with a rearing pony superimposed on it, In bold, colorful lettering was the following.
You think you got what it takes to be in the Iron Pony? You're invited to the first ever all-comers Iron Pony competition. Saturday, October 11th at Sweet Apple Acres. Entering the contest is free, so what have you got to lose? If you don't want to compete, why not show up and cheer on your favorite competitor? Tickets are only 4 bits each for adults, 2 for Philly or Colt. Bulls get in for free! Free catering provided by Sweet Apple Acres. Bring the whole family! The contest starts at 10 a.m. Rules available upon request. Contest please register by the end of the day on Wednesday, October 8th at Twilight Sparkle at the Ponyville Library.
Iron Pony competition? What does that mean?
Well, you see, Rainbow and I had a bit of a disagreement last year over which of us was the better athlete. It was me.
Applejack glared at her.
Only because y'all cheated. Did not. You used your wings in almost all the events you won. My wings are a part of me, so I didn't cheat.
Applejack was just inflating her lungs to respond to this when Twilight stepped between the two ponies.
Girls, what's past is past, and I thought every pony learned their lesson last year.
Both Applejack and Rainbow Dash looked solemnly at their hooves for a moment, and Twilight continued.
Besides, with the new rules in place, there won't be any talk of cheating this year, will there?
I reckon not. You bet there won't. Anyway, as I was saying.
Applejack gave a last glare at Rainbow Dash, who stuck out her tongue.
We had ourselves a little competition, and it attracted a mighty big crowd. So I reckoned, why not do this every year? Sweet Apple Acres sure could use the money, and maybe this year we can settle this once and for all.
And I thought that it would be nice if more ponies could enter. After all, it would get boring if it was just Applejack and Rainbow Dash every year.
Oh, wow, neat. I like to go see that.
Oh, no, you don't. You aren't going to see it, Sunflower.
What?
You're going to be in it. After all, you nearly outran me yesterday. You've just got to go so we can have our rematch.
Oh, aren't we just gonna race again?
The last event for the competition is the running of the Leafs, which is a race. So no matter how well we all do in the Iron Pony competition, it's still going to end up as a race in the end.
I finished 5th place last year.
Yeah, which isn't bad for an egghead.
I beat you, Dash, remember?
Yeah. Only because AJ and I were concentrating more on beating each other than in winning the race. So, Sunflower, are you in or what? I'd sure like to see you in the competition, Sunflower.
Oh, well, yes. Yes, why not? I'll be there.
A contest sounded just the thing to test her new pony body. The race the other day had been an unwelcome surprise, but over the course of a whole competition, she'd hopefully be able to surprise every pony.
Great. I've got the rules pinned up here.
Rainbow quickly rummaged in her other saddlebag and pulled out another sheet, which she handed to Erin. Erin glanced at the rules quickly, then placed the sheet in her own saddlebag. She would read them later once she had more time. The conversation continued from there well into the night. Against her better judgment, Erin had yet another slice of cake and plenty of punch. It was fairly late when most of the ponies, most of them yawning, started making for the door. Erin herself had worked through her sugar rush during the party and now felt a major crash coming on. She was swaying gently back and forth on her hooves, staring glassily into space. She blinked in surprise when she realized that a pony had been talking to her and looked up to the concerned face of Twilight Sparkle.
I'm sorry, what was that, Twilight?
You look really out of it, Sunflower. Maybe it's time to go home and get some sleep?
Erin smiled.
Bed sounds really good right now, I admit. But I don't want to leave while there's still ponies here. This is my party after all. I should be the last to go.
Look around you.
Twilight pointed with a hoof. Erin looked and saw that almost every pony was gone besides herself. Only Pinkie Pie, Twilight Sparkle, and Rainbow Dash had stayed. Applejack had left a couple hours earlier, stating that she had to be up at dawn to start her daily chores. Rarity had taken Fluttershy home before that, the Yellow Pegasus having reached her limit as far as company went. Erin had honestly not noticed that the other ponies had left. She was exhausted, but in a good way. She was feeling pleasantly mellow, slightly full from the cake and well disposed towards every pony. She was also unsuccessful at stifling a yawn.
Well, I suppose since there's so few left, I could get going.
Pinkie Pie suddenly popped up beside her, a slight pout on her face.
Aw, you're leaving already?
Well, I was thinking of it.
Aaron spoke carefully, not wanting to hurt Pinkie's feelings after she had gone through all this effort.
I mean, I had a wonderful time, but I'm also really tired, and it would be nice to get some sleep.
Hmm, well, you can't go yet. Not until I get you a take home box!
With that, Pinkie bounced away, rummaging briefly behind the counter until she came out with a couple of large folding cardboard boxes. Ignoring Aaron's protest, she started placing large slices of cake, several cupcakes, a variety of cookies, and a lone cherry turnover into the boxes, wrapped them up, and bounced back to balance them across Aaron's back.
There you go. Plenty of cake and goodies. That should last you, oh, at least through noon tomorrow.
Aaron could only laugh and hug Pinkie Pie around the neck.
Thank you, Pinkie Pie. I'll always remember how much fun I had today.
Pinkie hugged back, and shortly afterwards, Aaron was waving goodbye as she walked out the door. A tricky thing to do when you're walking on all fours. Pinkie and her friends waved back, wishing her a good night. It was fully nighttime when she left Sugar Cube Corner, but the light provided by the extremely bright full moon was sufficient for her to see by once she let her eyes adapt. Then she faced Hoof, remembering that she could adjust her eyes to see in low light. A quick mental exercise later, and the streets of Ponyville were bright as day, though with the colors oddly muted. She walked back to the guest house, humming a happy tune, though quietly enough not to disturb any of the sleeping ponies. She arrived back home feeling whimsical and in the mood for a little nonsense. Smiling, she remembered the story about the two princesses, one of whom raised and lowered the moon every night. What was her name? Oh, right.
Thank you for the wonderful moonlight, Luna. It helped me find my way home tonight.
Erin smiled and, feeling extremely silly, waved at the moon. Then she let herself inside, walked through the empty common area and into her room, barely taking the time to remove her take home boxes and settle bags before collapsing into bed. This time she remembered to make her report. When she was done yawning again, she began speaking quietly, summing up the day's events.
Aaron's Journal, Day 2. Dear Dr. Velchek and the rest of the Harmonics team. Well, today was sure exciting. Before I get into why it was exciting, I'll just give you a quick status up. First, I have a job! Yay! It's nothing too fantastic, just making deliveries, but I figured out that I'll be able to live off the salary I get with a few bits to spare for fun. Oh, reminds me, I should check how closely the bits that were made for me compared to the actual equestrian bits I have in my saddlebags right now. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Exhausted. Anyway, like I said, my job is to deliver packages. What's good about that is be able to get the I'll be able to get to know the area pretty well and meet lots of different ponies. Maybe soon I can save up enough to stay for a while in Canterlot, which is the capital of Equestria. Oh, and apparently I've become friends with the local librarian who's offered to not only help me learn about Equestria, but is also the personal student to one of the princesses, Celestia. That could be invaluable if we're to open negotiations for migrating our population to Equestria. That would be exciting enough, but there's also the fact that I've recorded several instances of telekinesis amongst unicorns, which I'm hoping will provide you with lots of data. Also, I don't know how to describe this, I really don't, but apparently the local Pegasi can directly maneuver clouds for the purposes of navigation. I know it sounds crazy, but seriously, I saw them do it. They push them with their hooves and then jump on them to get water out. It sounds like a fairy tale, I know, but it's completely true. I can't wait to hear the analysis of the data, and though this has nothing to do with the mission, the single most incredible thing that happened today was one of the locals, Pinkie Pie, put together this amazing party for just removing him. Can you believe it? The cake was amazing, honestly. I've got some in a box here, and if you somehow manage to open a portal before it all goes stale, I'll pass it through to you so you can try some. Anyway, that's it for now. I'd make a longer report, but I am completely wiped out. Between delivering packages and that party, I don't think I can stay so much longer.
Aaron yawned again, then rolled over in bed. She was just drifting off when suddenly a thought occurred to her.
One last thing. I'd really, really appreciate if you just deleted the footage of all my attempts to get work before I started working at FedEx. In fact, don't even watch it if you don't mind. This is Aaron Olson, aka Sunflower, signing off.
Several weeks prior, a swarm of small autonomous vehicles flitted through the gap, each of them about the size of a raven, and each with 4 spinning fans to keep them flying and upright. They moved out in a coordinated pattern, spreading away from the portal on predetermined flight paths. Though each of them was capable of acting completely independently of the others, they were all connected wirelessly in order to communicate and coordinate their reconnaissance. All data was shared in case one or more of the drones suffered damage, so that all information could be transmitted back to the Harmonics lab by any one drone. They never strayed far enough away from each other to cause a communications breakdown. Each drone at all times was within communications range of at least 2 others. From time to time, other portals would open up, spilling more small drones into the atmosphere and greatly expanding their range. They were programmed to avoid habitation and ponies in general, ducking out of sight should a creature get too close. One drone in particular buzzed its way over the threatening expanses of the ever-free forest, flying between trees, studying life forms, taking readings. It even happened to stumble across a small and currently unoccupied hut around which it circled wildly before zipping off deeper into the forest. For several hours each day, the drone hovered above the trees, angling its solar panels to catch the rays of the equestrian sun to recharge its batteries. Then, swooping back underneath the canopy, it would once again begin its mindlessly dogged collecting of information. 2 months into its mission, the day that Aaron came to Equestria, the small drone discovered a small area of forest, dozens of miles away from any kind of civilization, where the trees were stunted, barren, and twisted. The trees here were dying, looking as if they'd been exposed to an extended drought, though immediately outside the ring of dead trees, green life grew in riotous abundance. The only life that seemed to have any real purchase within the ring were small scrub brushes, and even those were twisted and yellowed. In the exact center of this area, the sensors on the drone discovered a small cave. It flew around in the cave in a complex weaving pattern, examining the life and environment around it. Finally, it buzzed its way into the cave itself. The sensors on the drone completely failed to notice the faint shimmering of a shield spell that completely failed to stop it from entering. A small light clicked on, chasing away the shadows as the drone moved about the cave, recording everything it saw. Not that the cave was very large, just a small depression in the earth carved out of dark brown stone. However, into the walls of the cave were carved many rooms and elaborate pictures, which triggered a subroutine in the drone's programming that made it stop and record every inch of writing it could find. Once that was completed, the drone turned to leave. However, it found absolute darkness in front of it. Darkness that its small light couldn't dispel. Had it been a living creature, it might have reacted with fascination or terror. Instead, it simply observed the unusual phenomenon for a small moment, still recording and transmitting continuously, until suddenly, the shadows rushed forward, engulfing it. The last thing the drone was able to record as it tumbled away from the stony floor was a voice, with buzzing resonance that seemed to be comprised of 1,000 voices speaking all at once. The voice said one thing as the drone fell.
Mine.
Fine.
Mine. This has been Project
Mine?
Sunflower Stream 5, presented to you live from Peniston Oil's headquarters here in Brookshire.
I thought it was Brookshire.
No.
And on that bombshell,
I was wondering how you'd do both voices at the same time.
My intention.
And you were wondering if I would have trouble talking.
I mean, I did give her the script to read ahead of time, I guess.
and I can absolutely guarantee that I did not look at it whatsoever.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, that sounds like you.
Hooray! Now you're one of us.
So Forrest, is Scarlet Rabbit going to be in on this story later too?
I don't know, he might be.
So are you all ready to join in the Iron Pony competition? This Saturday at 10 a.m.
I don't know. I already
Sunday.
joined the Legion. Don't really need much more than that.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday at the Wiley Baptist Church. Bible Jam with all your favorite apostles, Matthew, Mark, and John the Revelator.
With accompaniment by Pepper Brony.
What? No Luke? Hey, I ain't going to that. Shit.
And Luke Skywalker will be making a special judging appearance.
I am Mark Hamill, and I don't give a fuck anymore.
Does that count?
Of course, bad news. My goldfish accidentally ate the Legion.
Damn it, not
But
again.
that's just not acceptable, is it?
And that's how Winchester Wednesday was made.
Yay! Yeah, that's right. We're doing something so terrible that we hold off all the wilds and stuff that Forrest and I are joking around about.
I know my favorite
Yes.
character from Upheaval is still what's his dick?
Oh, that guy.
The one that you can't remember because you liked him so much.
Red Brand. His name is Red Brand.
Oh.
He's the one whose catchphrase is basically "Damn it, Philly!"
Yep.
Well, he's a doctor, not a blacksmith.
Damn it, Vanguard! I'm a doctor, not a blacksmith. It's not even the right accent, but it's fine. Are you actively trying to smash a guitar? That's what it sounds like.
I mean,
he's trying to fix the bridge of your guitar.
But the bridge is fine.
You see, he's doing the Jeremy Clarkson version of woodwork.
Dear God.
Where the only real tool is a hammer.
Hmm.
And if that fails, there's a bigger hammer. And if all else fails, there's a chainsaw.
What about a chainsaw with a hammer on it?
A chainsaw with a hammer on it. That sounds like
A
something
hammer
out of,
action.
like
Hammer action chainsaw.
hammer action chainsaw.
You know, we're saying that, yet I'm also picturing if the chain got stuck, a hammer action might actually unstick it.
no, it's just for petrified wood.
Or for steel beams.
Got steel cords.
Probably cut down
Damn
the
it!
steel cord too.
I was about to make that joke.
Well, I beat you to it.
News you lose.
That's right, folks.
what?
Today's stream was Quentin and Tarantine by Written Directino.
Well, that was kind of like today. My boss, we were doing oil change, and he asked me, did the customer want Quaker State or just regular Quaker State? But instead of saying just regular Quaker State, he said, do they want just regular Baker Quake?
Take a breath, think what you want to say, and then say it.
Steak or quake.
Caution. Swan is aggressive.
Baker Quake oil.
That's right, folks. We had a 4.1 Staker quake out here in California. It caused minor damage and was felt by about 300 people, just
And how many
outside of
cows?
Fresno. So we don't care about them.
How many
Yeah,
cows
Also,
were
a
felt?
large mass of oatmeal making its way down towards Southern California.
Now I want a steak. Thanks, guys.
Quaker steak. The only
Uh,
true steak.
So there was
Well,
actually a restaurant called Quaker Steak and
Yeah, there was. But
Yeah.
Lakin, you say you want a steak. Are you looking for something made of meat or something made of wood?
Well, if I don't get either, it's going to be a huge mistake.
You know, that's what they say about vegans too.
With vegans, I
God.
could use a wooden steak.
I better be careful, or else Winchester's going to have a beef with me.
Wooden
God, I think
steaks
I-
are
I think I actually
effective
made
against
I-
both zombies, or not zombies, vampires and vegans and pun makers.
You know, I think I actually made Ryuji angry with all the vegan jokes I was telling at BronyCon.
So he had a beef with you.
No, he didn't. That's the problem.
I just can't imagine Ryuji mad.
Oh, it's fairly. I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah, just whatever you do, don't call him chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah, he was in the Airbnb at BronyCon making a big deal about his vegan cupcakes the night I decided to make a steak dinner for my AV crew.
Meh.
Oh, got a steak dinner.
Yeah, that's why we're kidding around about yeah, we had a vegan meal. That cow was definitely vegan before we ate it. And you are what you eat.
Hmm.
Which means that the most vegan people here are not Ryuji because he doesn't eat vegans.
I'm really down to eat whoever. I mean, whatever.
You're just going to cannibalize that statement as something that makes sense, aren't you?
Whatever it takes to survive.
We're on a whole nother plane of like puns right now. I can't think of a thing.
Yeah, we need to be grounded.
Oh God, here it comes.
That was
Giggity.
very funny.
Can I keep a part of your intestine and then put the grounded bits of you into the intestine and then seal it and then fry it and then
Okay, let's
eat it?
move right along here.
Yeah, man, it's like those
You know what?
guys at the butcher shop like take a cow and they like scoop out the insides and make burgers and steaks and roasts and stuff, and then like they sell the cow wrapper to a guy who takes off all the fur and like makes sofas and car interiors out of it. Man, it's wild.
So speaking of the insides of things that move, how about that middle of the story where we went to Pinkie Pie's basement?
It was cozy.
She had cake. She didn't have cupcakes. I have a feeling like that was an intentional thing from the author, is to not include cupcakes in that scene.
There were cupcakes in that scene. Remember, she packed it in the
At the
to-go
very
box.
end, yeah, but
Yeah.
there wasn't a mention of it at the beginning.
Well, keep in mind the story is
Lycan, your laugh that entire time was just so it
yeah.
it made me feel a bit of fear.
Yeah, you know those that propensity around 2012 in the fandom where they decided R63 all the main six. Lakin would be Pinkie Pie in that world.
IRL.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, he is a doctor.
Not a milkman?
I'll be back.
Okay.
Are we off to join the war?
And then we never heard from him again.
And the silent one makes his appearance.
It was
You really are drunk, aren't you, Rain?
I wish I was.
No, because I drank all of her beer.
I just find it really funny that he's like, "I'll be back."
I'll be
It's
back.
like that movie I once saw. What was it? RoboCop?
Terminator.
I
RoboCop
know.
good
I was
too.
joking.
Well, with you, I can never be sure.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know, I just realized I've never actually looked at the other channels on this server.
Okay.
I'm just gonna glance through them real fast. So far, nothing of substance was gained.
Until you get to Flagstop plot holes.
Giggity giggity you.
Yes, we want you to send all the plot holes so that we can figure out ways to make them make sense in the universe.
You know, I love the fact I clicked on the channel. The first thing that came up was Pinkie Pie's circled. Yeah,
I have that problem all the time.
Giggity giggity.
scrolling straight past that.
What? Pinkie Pie circled?
All
Yes.
circles.
TBS backstage. Is TBS a Christian station?
No, that's PBS.
No, I'm thinking TBN.
Well, welcome to legitimately everything else that goes on this channel that I really don't have much to do with.
See how he
this is like
strategically
the
avoided the
main
verbiage,
part.
don't care.
Well, it's not that I don't care. I just don't have much to do with it.
You see, we like Circuit Main, we just don't care for the
I mean, I
main
watched the
yes.
show. Just not
Wait,
very...
there's a show?
Yes.
The
Dun-dun-dun.
Brony Show.
That explains the name.
Forrest had been watching the wrong channel. My little pony, my little.
He just watched it for the plot.
Flash Brony Show.
Today's episode of the Brony Show is brought to you by furries.
Oh.
They ruin everything.
And guess what? Not only do we have Winchester Wednesdays and the Brony Show, but we also have other affiliated things that go on throughout the week.
Yeah. Hey, Forrest, based on your stream there, are we going to do another EOH special? Huh? Are we?
Oh, yeah.
And next week's episode is titled "How to Go from PG to R in 10 Seconds Flat."
So Lars, we have me and Forrest were having a discussion during her release stream. We need to get EOH on every major news and media broadcaster in the nation, so we shut them down.
All right. Who do we want to start with?
Fox.
Communist
PBS?
News Network.
Awesome.
No, I'd take Communist News Network over Fox.
See, and I'd take
Okay,
Fox over Communist News Network.
Here's the question: Are we talking about? Are we talking about Fox, that channel that comes up with awesome sci-fi shows, or Fox News?
Fox News.
Awesome. There we go.
Okay, now lost us.
Now, can we agree on at least one thing? We can at least get rid of MSNBC.
They're still being funded.
They're still around.
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll die out on their own pretty quick here.
It's too many letters. I lost interest.
Well, you can watch more episodes of that news program on your HHDDVDD program.
While running it through Blu-ray Bluetooth?
I think you're talking about Red Ray, which is what you use to play your MP48s.
Oh, okay. What about what do I play my MP5 with?
Oh, on the DVD.
Yeah, that's right. Your HHDDVDD player.
I'm blue. Dabba DVD dabba
Dabba-dee, dabba-die,
I'm blue.
You're listening to BBC Radio 1.
We're listening to PCP.
You're on PCP.
Not Aura, not Buddha.
You're on MSG.com.
And everyone wondered how Forrest Rain got so good with her lips.
FBI, open up!
Okay, whoever did that was actually really...
Shit, guys, I gotta go again.
I didn't do anything, I swear.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was just signs of Lakin's restraining order from one of the CMC.
Wow, it's that.
Well, they're legal now.
I've been waiting for this day for so long.
Damn right. All right, who gets who first?
Well,
Yes.
I can get you all at once.
No, you can't.
Oh shit, that shotgun doesn't have that much range.
Hey,
Yeah,
Forrest,
does the range of that reach to Australia?
Yes.
Forrest, I'm gonna go power up the Dawn. You want to come with me?
I guess.
Why are you powering up your dong?
Is there beer on your dong?
Yes.
Okay, coming over.
Wait, Forrest, right? You can't go.
What?
But I sure
Australia's
can
only
leave.
Australia's only like 15 minutes away.
But what about that audio reading that we never finished like 3 years ago?
I was just thinking about that during the show today. I'm like, I wonder if I still have that sitting somewhere.
You probably do. I still have the other files on here. We just never got around to finding a Twilight for it.
What was it called?
Subconscious attraction. It was a rarity cuddlefish. Yes, I was the human, and she was rarity.
Oh, hey, there it is.
Yeah, but we
Now
needed to get
introducing
Twilight.
Winchester After Dark.
So Forrest Rain says she would find one of her friends to get to do Twilight, but we never did it. Though to be fair, I never really bothered to remind her very much. I always feel very conscious when I try to remind people all the time.
That sounds familiar.
Well, what we need is Sora to redo that scene with DJ Pun3.
I mean, seriously. Then again, you finally got around to doing the Upheaval sequel, so maybe it's now time to go.
You literally did the rest of the Upheaval sequel just so that I would listen to it and finish the story. And I still haven't been listening to it.
Douche.
Well, I would listen to Subconscious Attraction if you ever finished it.
You would be editing it, I hope so.
No, I already edited it. We already did the voices. We just need a Twilight, and then
Yeah, I have 7 chapters worth of it.
I can't wait for the next one. Upheaval Journeys, Chapter 1: The Wheel in the Sky.
Is that actually the name of the chapter?
No.
Yep, that would be
the
awesome.
one that you posted. You posted one up here somewhere.
Chapter 2: Castles Burning.
Oh, there it is.
Upheaval Sunflower, Chapter 11, Bankruptcy.
Oh my god.
I'm
Snake?
confused and interested.
Snake? Snake!
You realize that the next story in the Upheaval series is literally called Journeys. I'm just going to sit here making Journey jokes the whole time, right?
That I know. Journeys I know. But Journeys isn't really like, it's not a full story. It's like, it's a bunch of different stories from different points in time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
different
looking at
perspectives.
we've got Selling Destinations Companion Cause, Applejack 1, The Empire.
The Empire.
But yeah, so I started doing Vanguard's voice long before I ever knew there was a Solid Snake. And then people kept making allusions to Solid Snake. I'm like, well, oh well.
Guess you're Solid Snake then.
My other favorite thing to do is going
Cortana.
Yes,
That's not Master Chief.
Add a get me a weapon to that, please.
Cortana, get me a weapon.
Yeah, that works.
I'll not take orders from an aging Spartan and his malfunctioning AI.
Right. I always thought of Master Chief as having a much lower voice.
Well, that's what Equalizer's for. We're just gonna inject some 40 hertz into Forrest's voice and see what happens.
That sounds very painful.
We're gonna inject some 10 hertz into Forrest's voice and see what happens. We're also gonna inject some 4 kilohertz into Winchesters.
Master Chief.
No, I can't get that low right now. Right after I wake up is when I get the best time to be able to do that voice. But
what if we redo Halo 3 but with Gordon Ramsay doing all of Master Chief's lines?
I thought I'd try shooting my way out. Mix things up a little.
His wounds are still fucking raw! Gordon Ramsay should be a
They
medic.
don't have any lamb souls.
God damn it, there's lamb sauce all over the fucking floor!
Later, Sky Rays.
Night, Sky.
Good night, Sky.
See, Sky.
Bye-bye, Sky.
Like, none of us even probably heard him.
Wait, what?
Oh, hey, it's in this chat. I didn't see.
Yay.
Skyray says shout outs to Forrest, Lakin, Larcissus, and Commander Something for joining.
It's Lars Kicks.
RCC's.
Last kicks.
It's kind of like Dionysus.
Last.
Lars
Except a whole hell of a lot nerdier.
Thank you for attending Larsicon. Please come next year.
Oh, we're gonna come
Along
then.
with BronyCon 2020.
Yeah, that's right. So, Forrest, do you want to perform at BronyCon 2020? We're hosting it on the moon.
I will be there.
Awesome. Alexa, schedule Forest Rain for BronyCon 2020.
Scheduling Forced Rain for BronyCon 2020. What date would you like to set for BronyCon 2020?
August 20th.
Setting date for BronyCon 2020 as August 20th, 2020.
Yeah, people keep asking me what I'm doing next year, and I'm like, I don't have 2020 vision.
Oh, you waited. How long have you waited to make that joke?
Alexa, order 1 anti-pun missile for Lycan.
Ordering 1 anti-pun missile for Lycan. Where would you like
Oh,
this
no.
delivered?
Gold Coast, Australia.
Setting coordinates for Gold Coast, Australia. When would you like to submit missile?
Immediately.
Submitting missile immediately. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Launched.
I love how Marzi's thing came up at the exact same time.
That's perfect timing.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a pun missile.
We
It
just
must
hear
be my punishment.
we just hear a very loud sound come through Lycan's microphone, and then he drops offline.
Better yet, he just stays online, and we hear noises in the background, and we all just assume that it's Forrest Rain's new album, The End of the World, which you should pick up now.
Buy it today from KTEL Records.
The End of the World by Forest Rain. Available at forestrainmedia.com. Also available on Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, iTunes, and other music services.
Don't delay. Visit store.forestrain.com today.
Oh.
I've been watching a lot of Louis Rossman, so
I can tell.
remember,
Oh.
Winchester, the bigger the glob, the better the job.
Hootwick.
I did find this, though.
Although
also find-
LGBT was arguably the most generic and commonly used, it recognized other designations existed. The Adult Social Care and Services Scrutiny Panel considered other options, including LGBTQ+, and LGBTQIP2SAA.
Well, time to put her down.
You can also find older albums such as Something Special. Visit store.forestrain.com.
LGBTQIP2SSA, SAA stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, queer, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, androgynous, and asexual.
Actually memorize that?
Forest Rain Command Vocal
Hell no.
Debug.
LMNOP.
LGBTQ LMNOP.
Okay, the only one I don't know is Two Spirit.
Yeah, two-spirit sounds very strange.
It sounds like a. You know what that actually sounds like? You
comes
can picture.
from Native American feelings.
No, it does. But tell me you couldn't picture a Brony musician early fandom coming up with that name.
Two-spirit? Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like True Colt. Colt? What was his name? Two Colt. Nobody remembers that character. He's from the first part of Breaking Point. Two-spirit is a modern pan-Indian umbrella term used by some indigenous North Americans to describe Native people and their communities who fulfill a traditional third gender ceremonial role in their cultures.
That's the voice you should use on BBC Radio.
With the burp included.
Yeah, with the burp.
You're listening to BBC Radio.
Speaking of AI, you can actually do this with Google. Hey Google, what does a fart sound like?
Hey, I just saw. I just saw that Steel Courts joined the chat. How was the hockey game? That was honestly far more interesting than this, probably.
What chat?
IRC
Yeah.
chat.
IRC.
Oh,
Ah. You know, I just realized Blaken did that with. I wonder if Siri can do that too. What does a fart sound like?
Here's what I found.
She found YouTube videos.
Congratulations, that's going to be in your watch later list.
You're scared, steal away.
I need to hide a body.
Again.
what?
Yeah. What? Again?
Wow.
So,
Think Siri's on to me,
Lars.
guys.
So, Lars, just in case you ever need this for future information, the downtown Sheraton in Denver has a incinerator that is cleverly disguised as a PSAV storeroom.
Huh.
That's where I crawled out of.
Ah.
Yes, it says that it is inoperable, but I'm sure that could be changed.
They said that about me too.
And then my goldfish got involved.
And by the
Hey,
way,
Siri.
I am not kidding.
What is your
Hey.
sexual orientation?
Psh. Hey, Commerce City. I recognize that from Need for Speed: The Run. I went through there at about 120 miles an hour.
Easily confused with Need for Speed: The Runs. Entirely different premise. Easily
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's more of a medical practice.
You thought Two Girls, One Cup was something.
From the producer of Two Girls, One Cup comes...
2 cups, 1 girl?
It's just a lady
No, that's a
drinking
horror
beer
film.
and some wine.
No, beer and water.
This auto mixer has a name.
Not wine, on the other hand.
Gertrude Vanderberg.
Is that something that Max wrote?
I don't know who Max is, but I found it in the incinerator.
I presume Max wrote that.
Or wait, no,
It's
that
Dutch.
wasn't in the incinerator. That was at the Westin.
It is Dutch, and it means Gertrude from the mountains.
But it was probably Coco that wrote it.
Cokehead wrote it? What?
Cokehead.
Ah, okay, just making sure.
They said it was the work of the really cool person that worked there. Like,
Yep.
okay.
That was Coco. He's with us now.
I'm sorry. When was the
Wait,
funeral?
You're-
Coco
What do you mean you're
Chanel works
sorry?
for you?
He's literally like the coolest dude in the world.
Oh,
Coco Chanel's a he now?
Oh,
I-
hey, on this, where the fuck did I find this?
Yeah, as I was going back to the old EOH specials, I was just like, Forrest, you're a girl?
What was
No.
the line that Snow said while the thing was chasing us?
I forget.
It's like, do we even call it? Is it even an it? Or is it even a he or something like that? Whatever.
It sounds offensive in this day and age.
Yeah, he was referring to the Kraken that was chasing us, and I'm like, not now. And he's like, not you.
You know, as I recall, that was one that was improvised too when we were recording it.
It might have been.
But by
Because
the way,
there was a script. We were in a Skype call, which shows how old this thing is. And he read his line, and he goes, "Not you," and you were just like, "Yeah, that's going in the script now."
wait, wasn't every EOH every EOH special like done in Skype?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the Star Trek one wasn't.
It was.
No, we rejected Skype. It was behind us. We went to actually that was done on Skype.
I was gonna say, I was pretty sure because that's when I was passing out, and so Forrest watched me pass out in my chair.
Oh, yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, by the way, Tom's Hardware answered a very important question today. Intel chips are better at making pancakes than AMD ones.
Good to know.
So if you ever don't have an oven and happen to have a $2,000 CPU and are desperate for pancakes.
Why would you use an oven to make pancakes?
Dutch babies.
Huh?
Dutch babies.
I thought we usually burned those and stuck those on pikes. I probably can't say that.
I didn't know the Dutch mate, or I didn't know the Dutch.
Dutch baby.
Oh, let me take this small sword and just harikari. Forrest, I'm gonna need you to come up and stop stream.
No, don't commit Sudoku.
Seppuku, dude.
Damn it! I need a 3.
It's a Sudoku. Thanks.
Shakudo, what?
Shakudo.
Yes.
Seppuku.
Shocking dough.
He's going to
Somewhere
stab
along the lines. This conversation got derailed.
Oh wow! I want.
Oh,
one.
no.
I want one of these right now.
Don't say anything about rails or coal dust will get.
So I liked old power supplies because back then they had multiple 12-volt rails.
Yeah.
We've really gone off the rails.
My processing core runs on a 23rd century Intel Xeon processor.
Intel, now owned by Disney.
The U.S. government, now owned by Disney.
Yeah, so funny thing about that, somebody was like objectively measuring power of like different entities, and the US government ranks below the power of Google.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Kind of weird to think about.
Well, they were talking on WAN Show, I think, last week about how like Google and Amazon are coming close to like being able to just buy their own country.
They probably
That's what
should.
Actually, what my goldfish and I did. You know the Pitcairn Islands? Those are ours now.
I would
I
move
thought
to
your
Google
goldfish
country.
owned Neptune.
No, we're not buying Neptune yet. We do own Titan though.
But what about Titan's Fall?
Well, that's what we named the roller coaster that we're building on Titan.
Meh.
How did you get around the copyright restriction?
Well, copyright
Simple.
is only earthbound.
Yeah, we don't have a country up there to sue us.
I'm pretty sure
And has it
I'm
explored-
pretty sure other companies other than Earthbound have copyrights.
And has it explored Uranus?
I don't know about it, but I sure have.
We're gonna send a probe.
Well, then you're no better than the fucking aliens, then.
Well, yeah, they're the fucking aliens.
Queh.
Yeah.
We
So
have
it's a
no
giant
need for
asshole.
weapons. We have ruled this land for thousands of years. Welcome to America, bitch.
You ever wondered why the little green men's fingers were so long?
No,
I haven't, but I have now.
Now you know.
the more you know.
All the
Hey,
better
Forrest.
to probe you with, my dear.
Forrest, Luna's being demanding again.
Hmm.
She's demanding pancakes this time though, so it's all good.
Oh, pancakes are good.
Yeah.
You know what's better than pancakes?
Fucking awesome pancakes.
Yes. But you know what's better than fucking awesome pancakes?
Even
Hamburgers.
more fucking awesome pancakes.
Beer and fucking awesome pancakes.
You're on
What
some
about
here.
bacon?
I don't want to put on
What about
pants.
bacon cheeseburgers?
Pretty good. Yeah, actually, I would probably take a cheeseburger over pancakes.
I just realized the only times I've went liquor shopping is on weekends. And I did
I thought you were about to say something completely different based off the picture in that chat. There's going to be something along those lines. I just realized what that is next to the desk.
Oh no, that's the exact same headphone stand I have in my setup.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you that's the reason why Lostus told me that I had to get a new headphone stand before the next con I go to.
Where do you even get those?
The chair store.
Ask your mom.
No, my mom isn't into that stuff. She only likes wigs.
Wait.
Forrest, I'm looking at pictures of Dutch baby pancakes, and I want one now.
Of course, I just got my spear stuck in my ceiling.
You got your what stuck in your ceiling?
My spear.
Why? Why would you do this?
I think.
Now there's a
I think
dagger stuck
that.
in my ceiling. Oh.
I
He was
think he's
compensating
putting.
for something.
Forrest, I think he's putting as much forethought into this as he did while preheating a pan with olive oil in it while doing laundry.
Hmm.
Just got a K-bar stuck in the ceiling. Help me.
Well, just wait for them to fall out and catch them.
With your head.
I just did that with the fucking dagger and it just poked my thumb. But at least I didn't chop my pinky off.
Look, man.
Hey, you were the first one to bring it up in this stream.
True.
Hey, Forrest, well, we need someone wiser than us to make a comment on this. What would Vanguard Clash say about his handling of weapons?
I'm leaving.
Ah, there we go.
By the way, are we still on stream?
Yes.
Hi, stream. This is as coherent as we are when we don't actually have a script to follow.
Honestly, this has just been fun chill time, so I just never bothered to kill the stream because after I kill the stream, everybody fucking leaves.
Well, I don't want to leave while we're on stream.
Well, I actually have a good reason to leave. All the places that have good food are only open for another 40 minutes, and I should go to one of them.
I just ate 4 packets of ramen noodles. I think I'm going to die.
My excuse to leave is that all the places around here stop selling beer in 2.5 hours, and that doesn't give me any time to drink beer. Also, my shift tomorrow was delayed until 11, so...
I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning now, so I can make an hour drive to my coming to work nowadays. So, like, yeah.
You should probably go to bed.
I've got to wake up at some time tomorrow to pay the insurance on my pickups, get my car washed, do some other shit, buy some food, pack my shit. Then Friday, I'm driving 4 hours to Denver to go to work.
It's only 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have to drive an hour for like the get from Lincoln to Omaha 5 days a week. Yeah.
I love how like.
I'm gonna pop off here. My shout out is to the Microsoft Surface Duo, the smartphone from Microsoft that no one asked for.
I like.
It's not a Windows phone.
Not even I asked for it.
Well, I am going to follow suit and also pop off, but my shout out is to the Equestrian Legion.
Wait.
Hey, Forrest, you and I are in the Equestrian Legion.
Yeah.
I have a starship. Where does that put me in the Legion?
It puts you above it, usually.
Huh? Yeah, that's true.
It's lunchtime for me. It's 1 p.m. I always wonder why Winchester Wednesday's on a Thursday.
Also, Ray, who's voicing Twilight?
Probably
Todd
Webcake. Webcake's
McFarlane.
in Twilight, and she's really good at giving me files on time.
Hey, if we can get that down, yeah, it's just a matter of putting it all together.
Yeah,
I give you files when I give you files when you remind me to.
Audio stuff, so I mean, it's on you. I mean,
Sweet. Yeah. I have the folder open, so I will put that on my list of things to do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Again, 3 years later.
Is that your gigantic note card that you wrote down earlier?
No, this was just my left monitor.
Oh. The entire
Anyway.
left monitor.
Later, guys.
The Equestrian Legion.
Bye, Larson.
Make sure to join
My
it
shout
to
out-
protect Equestria.
My shout out is to the Ponies at Dawn, which is releasing their album on Saturday.
Awesome.
And the Discord disconnect sound. Shout out to that.
Alrighty. Double R, what's your shout out?
Shoutouts to the Hoopy McGee for making Project Sunflower, a gem of a human equestrific, and joining everyone else in the full-time grind. That's an experience.
Yeah, it sucks. Alrighty. Next on to Commander Something. What are your shoutouts? You have a mic. His shout out is
yes. And then he says it seductively. Yes.
I could not imagine Commander saying anything seductively.
Wait, now he says no, so it's no.
I think there's a subreddit labeled that exact thing.
Yeah.
I agree with Winchester. Oh.
I agree with Winchester.
Alrighty. And finally on to CMC.
Fires, explosions, LOE, roan, venison jerky. Oh no. More explosions?
Yeah, explosions.
Have you ever tried kangaroo jerky?
Yes, it's actually fairly good. Really mean. Anyways, thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. It's been crazy. Yeah. Happening. My work schedule is like literally made up like by the day. So yeah. So thank you to everybody that showed up. I see that Kokoi said that we got 5 viewers, so that's awesome. But thank you everybody for showing up. And yeah. I don't really feel like doing an outro song. So, anyways, purchase Forest Rain's new album. Also, everybody spam her Twitter as much as you can to have her make vinyl of it, because I've been trying to tell her to do it. Also, if you have any suggestions for where to get records currently made, that's another hurdle that we're trying to get over at the moment. So, yes, thanks for showing up. It's been fun. This is Winchester 572 going 10-7. I'm out. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.